Investigation, search on title. This is the process of confirming title of the vendor deduced by him. The purchaser solicitor must investigate the vendor's title so as to see whether or not there exist defects in the title deduced by the vendor. Investigation of title is usually done by way of search conducted in all places, offices where there may be particulars or details of the property. The following are places where searches can be conducted. Lands Registry. This is where the lands in a state are administered. It is usually located at Ministry of Land Survey and Regional Planning. A search at the land registry will usually reveal the following: A. The nature of the grant and the holder of the interest. B. The accurate description of the property to the effect that the size is revealed, survey plans, beacons and its numbers. C. Details of fees paid on the property such as ground rent, tenement rate, etc. D. Details of registered transactions on the property such as previous deed, contract of sale, etc. E. It reveals previous and existing encumbrances on the property such as mortgage. F. It reveals if there has been any act of government acquisition on the property. G. Reveals, if any, the existence of any court judgment obtained and registered over the property which affects the vendor's title. H. Counterpart office file copies of the right of occupancy or certificate of occupancy on the property. It is interesting to note that the solicitor does not have a direct and personal view of the file. The chances of having a personal contact to the file are slim. Very important, the conduct of the search by the officials at the AGIS rather than the solicitor personally is a particular risk which requires the solicitor to warn the client of the consequence of the process. Abuja Geographical Information System (AGIS). It was established in 2003. It regulates land administration in Abuja and the Federal Capital Territory. Prior to its establishment, their functions were vested in the Lands Department of the Federal Capital Development Authority (FCDA). Procedure for conducting search at the AGIS. A. Obtain a letter of consent from the owner of the title to the land authorizing the said search. B. Write an application to conduct the search on the land and ensure that the particulars of the land are stated. C. Pay for the search and attach the evidence of payment of the requisite search fee at designated bank. D. Submit this document to the officials of the AGIS who will conduct the search and complete the search report. The search report is to be signed by the Registrar of Deeds. The solicitor does not have a direct and personal view and inspection of the file. However, there exist very slim chances of the solicitor having direct contact with the file. It is important to note that the conduct of a search by the AGIS and not the solicitor is a particular risk that the solicitor should warn the client of his intended consequences. Search in the state's land registry. A. Write an application to conduct a search and ensure that the application is addressed to the Commissioner for Lands in the state. B. Pay the requisite fee at the designated bank and attach the evidence of payment to the application. C. Attach a copy of the certificate of occupancy. The application is duly processed and the permission of the Commissioner is granted to conduct the search. The file on the property is produced from a highly secured room and given to the solicitor to peruse the entries, examine and make a record of his findings. Federal Lands Registry. They administer federal lands located in the state or the Federal Capital Territory. They register all titles of the federal government and all interests created by the subsequent transactions on land vested in the federal government and its agencies. Probate Registry. The Probate Registry of State keeps a record of wills and other testamentary documents. It is a department at the High Court in the various states. A search at the Probate Registry becomes important if there is a fact in the abstract of the death of any of the predecessors in the title to the property. A search at the Probate Registry may answer any of the following questions: A. Whether the property was subject of a bequest by will, probate or intestacy letters of administration. B. Who the personal representatives entitled to convey the properties are. C. Who the beneficiaries under the probate or letters of administration are. D. Whether or not an assent has been executed with respect to the property. E. Whether there is any challenge on the will, probate or letter of administration and any judgment thereto. Search at the Corporate Affairs Commission. Where a company, business name or incorporated trustee is the party to a property transaction, it is advisable that the search be conducted at the Corporate Affairs Commission to discover the following: A. Whether the company or incorporated trustee is registered and has the capacity to conduct the transaction. B. Whether there is any record of any of the properties of the company in the Corporate Affairs Commission's register. C. Whether there is a registered solution of the Board of Directors or Trustees to acquire or dispose of the property. Court. A search at the court for any judgment is intended to determine A. If the property was subject matter of any litigation and the outcome of the dispute. B. Whether any appeal is filed against the judgment and the result of the appeal. C. If an order of sale of the land was made and whether the sale complied with the rules. D. Whether the vendor is a personal representative or beneficiary in a probate dispute which entitles him to dispose the property. Inquiry on communal and family land. A. Find out whether consent of principal members and family head has been granted. B. Whether the vendor has the right to sell the land. C. Whether there exists any customary inhibition against his right to sell the land. Physical inspection of the property. It is important that the personal visit to the property is conducted, and this is because it has tendencies of revealing A. Whether or not the property is being occupied. B. The extent of the development on the property. C. Actual dimension of the land and whether it conforms to the dimension of the property. D. Whether there are public utilities on the land property, e.g. electric poles and telephone cables. E. Any damage caused by natural elements, e.g. erosion. And F. The general condition of the property.